Thanks, Count Corla. The way the government goes on about this plan, the way it's been lauding itself as the opposite of austerity and so on over the past 24 hours, you would think that there's some massive New Deal sort of public investment going on in the economy. But the reality is so different from that. Look at the size of what we're talking about here. If you take in both the EU money and the money from the domestic money, 4.5 billion euros. It's a tiny amount of money. It's about 1.5% the size of the entire economy. It's about 4%, 4.5% the size of an annual budget. And that's without even to go into the details of like where the money is actually going. But this is not a substantial package. Compare it on an EU level. Per capita spending, it's about a quarter of what is happening in terms of public investment, post-COVID spending in the Spanish state, for example. And what is actually contained within it, I mean, again, for all the government's talk of the opposite of austerity, you can say the opposite of austerity all you want, but for the hundreds of thousands of people who are going to experience, on the one hand, a significant drop in their income, up to 40% for those on the 350 rate of PUP. So they lose money in their pockets, and on the other hand, they have to pay out more money in an austerity tax that was brought in the aftermath of the last economic crisis. And it's going to be difficult to convince those people that what you're doing is not austerity, because how they will experience it is correctly, because it's accurate, as an attack on their living standards. Second point I want to make is about the price that we are paying for the corporate tax haven model, which is a failed model, which is a deeply unjust model. Often the way the government goes on, you would kind of think that, well, look, someone else is paying the price for this. This is a global competition, and basically, kind of nudge, nudge, wink, wink, it's the poorer countries in the world who are losing out, because there's literally hundreds of billions of euros being robbed from the state coffers of poorer countries in the world by the kind of practices that the Irish state engages in. But they're not the only losers here. Obviously, we've made the point in terms of the losers that are here in terms of the money that we don't get to invest in healthcare, invest in education, to invest to resolve the housing crisis. But there's a very, very concrete point here, is that the amount of money that the Irish state has gotten from the EU for this programme is very small compared to many other countries, and it's because of our leprechaun economics. It's because it's based on GDP figures, which are massively bloated because of corporations avoiding registering profits here to avoid paying tax. So, for example, we're getting about 1/6 of what Croatia is getting, a similar-sized country. We're getting less than half of what Denmark is getting, a similar-sized country with a more developed economy. So it again underlines the point that people here, ordinary workers here, are the losers. The final point I'd say is the government keeps saying we've no alternative, etc. We actually do want to have an alternative. We have an eco-socialist alternative, an eco-socialist Green New Deal, but the government isn't interested in discussing that.